Okay, it started.
Diolch yn fawr. Bore da chi gyd a croeso i chi'r cyfarfod CJC yma y bore yma. Ga i ddechrau wrth dweud bod ni wedi derbyn ymddeiriadau wrth y cynghorydd Rob Stewart o Abertawe. A mae'n braf cael croesawu cynghorydd David Hopkins yma yn ei lefau. Croeso i ti, David. Welcome, David, in Rob's place.
Thank you.
Fel ych chi'n gwybod, mae'r cyfarfod yn cael ei recordo, felly os newch chi siŵr bod eich meicroffon wedi cael ei tynnu bant, oni bai bod chi'n siarad wrth gwrs, a bod unrhyw ffonau symudol hefyd wedi cael ei troi bant. Felly gyda hynny o groeso, newn ni symud ymlaen i'r ail eitem, sef datganiadau personol. Oes yna unrhyw ddatganiad personol gan unrhyw un y bore yma? Na. Pawb yn weddol
I
hapus?
see no indication, Chair.
Gret, diolch yn fawr. Felly, newn ni symud ymlaen i'r eitem nesaf, sef eitem 3 ar yr agenda, sef y blaen rhaglen waith. Mae hyn ar dudalen 3 a 4. Os da unrhyw swyddog unrhyw beth i ychwanegu ar y pwynt yma? Anything from officers to add to this? No.
I see no indication, Chair. It's just for noting.
Ie, mae yna gwybodaeth, felly os nag oes yna unrhyw sylw, newn ni symud ymlaen i'r eitem nesaf te. Sef eitem 4, sef yr adroddiad blynyddol ar gyfer y flwyddyn ariannol diwetha a ddath i ben ar diwedd mis Mawrth. Mae'r adroddiad ar dudalen 5, yn dechrau ar dudalen 5, a gai ofyn felly i Chris Moore i gyflwyno'r adroddiad yn ffurfiol, please. Diolch i ti, Chris.
Chair, I don't actually think Chris is in the meeting at the moment. I can see Stephen is.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Steve.
Is Chris joining, Steve?
I believe he was, yes. I don't have access to his calendar, unfortunately.
Let me...
Oh no, Chair, if you be with me a second.
Whilst we wait for Chris, the other option, if members are happy, we could move on to item 6. If Craig is here, yeah, Craig is here. We could move on to item 6 if members are happy to make progress. Is that acceptable, Craig?
If fine, Chair, yes, that's no problem at all from my perspective.
Yes, rather than sit here. So we'll move on to item 6 if members are happy then, whilst we wait for Chris to join the meeting. So item 6 te yw diweddariad ar y cylch gwarchwyl yn hermer is-bwyllgorau y CJC. Mae hyn ar dudalen 21, a gai ofyn felly i Craig Griffiths i gyflwyno'r adroddiad. Diolch, Craig.
Diolch, David. I do apologise for my screen at the moment, members. I'm having a few technical issues, which explains why I'm very bright appearing on screen at the moment. This is just a very short report from myself following a discussion with various officers and members within the CJC. In essence, we set up, obviously, our subcommittees, and as part of those terms of reference, we agreed that they would be chaired by a leader from the CJC, and in the absence of a leader, an alternative would step in. I'm just suggesting a potential amendment to that. So in the absence of a leader being in attendance, the meeting could ultimately be chaired by a cabinet member from that lead authority. So just a very short amendment required to our terms of reference, which is before members today for approval, Chair.
Great. Diolch, Craig. Thank you very much for that. David, do you want to speak, or are you proposing?
No, I'd like to speak and propose, actually. I sort of wanted to bring this to the attention because we've had several discussions in the past about these committees. And it was always my intention that the cabinet member from the relevant authority was going to take the lead on it, rather than the leader themselves. So does this amendment sort of allow for that, in as much as the cabinet member could permanently carry on with the lead, or are you saying the leader has to do it, but in his absence, the cabinet member can do it?
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. So we've built in the requirement that the default position is that the leader will chair, but it will be up to that individual leader to, if he wishes to delegate it its entirety to a cabinet member, they'll be more than entitled ultimately to do that. It would be the individual discretion of the leader who is chairing that particular committee.
That's fine. I've no problem in proposing that then.
There we are. Great. Thank you, David. So David's proposing that formally. Can I have a seconder, please? David
Happy to
Hopkins.
second.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. And just for clarity, then, can we ask all leaders to show if they're in support of the proposal? Great. Diolch yn fawr. Diolch yn fawr. Felly mae ni wedi gymrydwyo. Thank you, Craig. Diolch am gyflwyno. Thank you very much for that. Fi'n credu bod Chris wedi ymuno. Ie, mae Chris wedi ymuno. So popeth yn iawn. So os ych chi'n hapus de, newn ni nôl nawr trwy eitem 4 ar y agenda, sef yr adroddiad flynyddol ar gyfer y flwyddyn ariannol diwetha, sef diwedd mis Mawrth 23, a mae'r adroddiad yn dechrau ar dalen 5 o'r agenda, a gai ofyn i Chris Mo i gyflwyno yn ffurfiol, please. Diolch, Chris.
Thank you, Chair, and apologies for the late arrival. Unfortunately, I had a connection problem. I couldn't get into the system, into the actual meeting, so apologies there. Yeah, this report is brought to you for information purposes. The way that we structured the committees is that the Governance and Audit Committee receive the annual accounts on an annual basis and are the responsible committee for approving the accounts. So these are the accounts now in respect of 22-23, and they've gone through the Governance and Audit Committee. The auditor was present in the meeting and presented the accounts. And therefore they've just brought on to the Joint Committee for your information so that you're aware of it. 22-23, due to the size of the turnover, there wasn't a requirement to do a full statement of accounts. There was a requirement to just do an annual return, which is what's included in the report. The annual return, you will note, has been signed by David McGregor, who is the chair, the layperson, independent chair of the Governance and Audit Committee on the 26th of October, where they were presented, and that has sort of concluded the process. But just for your information, the position of the spend last year is that we raised a precept of 575,000. We only expended 190,000 in the year, and that was expended mainly around the governance and the support in terms of the staffing, which is all detailed on Appendix A of the report. That actually allowed us then to hold 384,000, which went into balances and has been carried forward into the current year in terms of the overall position. Obviously, last year was the first year of operation, and there was a gearing up that was required. And as a consequence, the spend was limited. You will notice that we did allocate initially 20,000 per subcommittee, which wasn't drawn on last year, and there has been a lot more activity this year. But this is just off the kick-off position. So that really sort of summarises the position. The annual return is in Appendix B, which, as I say, has been approved, and it's been approved now by the auditor as well, and has effectively concluded last year's financial position. So happy to take any questions on the report or the information that's contained in it.
Diolch i ti, Chris. Oes yna unrhyw gwestiynau, unrhyw sylwadau ar yr adroddiad? Pawb yn weddol hapus? Gwybodaeth yw'r adroddiad fel y Chris yn sôn, felly os nag oes yna unrhyw gwestiynau pellach, newn ni symud mlaen i'r eitem nesaf te. Sef eitem 5 a'r agenda yma yw monitor ariannol chwarter 2. Ac unwaith eto, gai ofyn i Chris Moore i gyflwyno'r adroddiad, please. Diolch i ti, Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, this is the Q2 financial monitoring for 23-24. You will see that at the bottom of Appendix A, where I referred to last year that we had balances carried forward to 384,000, they've actually rolled now into this year. And this is portraying the operation activity of the current year. Again, we're underspending on the precept. We amended the precept, sorry, not the precept, sorry, levy. We amended the levy slightly when we set in this year, but you will recall that we did actually decide to go for a minimum delivery in year 2 because of the budget pressures that actually are on all the constituent authorities. So we set the levy at the same sort of level as the first year, and the levy was 617,000. We haven't expended all that money. There has been a lot more activity, and you will see the forecasts in terms of the work streams, where the work streams in the main have spent or forecasting to spend about 5,000 each, with the exception of transport, where it's 50,000 is anticipated. Obviously, there's some still pursuance of grants with the Welsh Government in terms of support for some of these work streams, but that hasn't been concluded as yet. If that comes in, that will support the work streams going forward, particularly the planning and the transport. The other costs there, we've got less of cost on the regional management office because Owain Enoch, who was actually supporting this, went on to another job. So we've, I think it's been supported more at an arm's length from Neath and Talbot in the meantime. So there's a lesser cost there, only 43,000. So overall, at the moment, we're anticipating a total spend of about 322,000, which is actually detailed on Appendix A of the report. Again, given a underspend potential in the year, forecasted at the moment at 295,000. Again, that will be held in reserves and will be supporting either the budget or supporting activity or in future years, i.e. 24, 25 and 25, 26. So financially a good position to be in terms of where we're well within budget. A bit less pressure here possibly than in the main local constituent authorities, where I think we've all got pressures. But it's sort of indicated that we are in a good position to take forward whatever we want to in proposals for 24, 25. So again, Chair, happy to take any questions that there may be on it.
Yeah, diolch i ti, Chris. A fel ni'n gwybod, mae yna weithdi wrth gwrs yn dilyn y cyfarfod yma i drafod y gyllideb ar gyfer y flwyddyn ariannol nesaf, felly fydd yr hyn mae Chris wedi sôn am bore yma yn bwydo mewn i'r drafodaeth na yn sicr. Oes yna unrhyw gwestiynau penodol? Are there any specific questions or comments to Chris on this report? If not, it's there for noting. Could I ask members therefore just to show their hands if they're happy to note the contents? Great. Diolch yn fawr. Gwych. Felly, gaeth ni symud ymlaen te. I ni wedi trafod eitem 6 wrth gwrs a wedi cymrydwyo'r newidiadau hynny. Felly, yr eitem nesaf ar agenda yw eitem 7, sef adroddiad Archwilio Cymru. Mae Archwilio Cymru wedi bod yn edrych ar cydbwyllgorau ar draws Cymru wrth gwrs, ac fel rhan o'r pecyn sydd o'n blaen ni, sy'n dechrau ar dalen 25. Mae hefyd wrth gwrs llythyr uniongyrchol ato ni yma yn y de orllewin. Cyn i fi groesawu Will mewn, mae Will wrth gwrs wedi cymryd drosto fel prif weithredwr ar rhan y CJC yn ddiweddar, a dyma yw gyfarfod cyntaf yn ffurfiol, felly croeso i ti i'r rôl newydd, Will. Ond mae'n holl bwysig fi'n credu bod ni'n diolch i'r gwaith aruthrol mae Karen Jones yng Nghysylltiad Talbot wedi gwneud dros y cyfnod diwetha i sefydlu y cydbwyllgor yma yn y de orllewin. A mae'r adroddiad sydd o'n blaen ni y bore yma gyda Archwilio Cymru yn adlewyrchiad positif fi'n credu o'r hyn ni wedi cyflawni yn y de orllewin, a mae lot o'r diolch na lawr i'r gwaith mae Karen wedi gwneud dros y cyfnod diwetha. So diolch yn fawr i ti, Karen, yn ffurfiol am dy waith. Ni wir yn ei werthfawrogi fe, a gael ofyn nawr te i Will jyst i gyflwyno yr adroddiad yn ffurfiol. Diolch i ti, Will.
Well, thank you, Chair, for those introductory remarks. Good morning, members. But yeah, the purpose of this report really is just to note the Audit Wales report on all of the progress made across all of the corporate joint committees. That report is at Appendix 1. I'll probably just highlight there are 5 recommendations on page 45 and 46. For context, members, I think it's worth just reflecting on the fact that at the last Corporate Joint Committee on the 24th of October, we took the specific letter to the committee from the Auditor General. We've attached that at Appendix 2 for completeness, and the committee approved the action plan against the specific recommendations for the South West Wales Corporate Joint Committee, specifically on a child poverty action plan and our participation strategy, both of which are on track to be produced for next spring. So this report really is to note, and reflecting the chair's comments there, I think the report reflects the progress made by the committee very favourably on balance, notwithstanding that we have got a few elements that we need to take forward in our action plan. So that's it from me, Chair, unless there are any questions.
Grêt, diolch, diolch Wil. Oes yna unrhyw sylwadau, unrhyw gwestiynau ar y cynnwys? Aled, diolch.
Ia, fel sa chi disgwyl, gai gynna i o safbwynt un o'r parciau cenedlaethol. Dwi'n falch bod Tegrin yma hefo ni. Da ni'n sylwi wrth gwrs ar item 7 yn yr adroddiad, bod na sylw'n cael ei wneud efo cydweithredu hefo y parciau cenedlaethol yn arbennig y maes y llesiant. A dwi'n gweld yma hefyd bod na argymhelliad yn does ar 4, bod na archwiliad yn cael ei wneud i edrych os byddwn ni hyrwyddo'r gwaith efo'r parc yn agos a'r parciau cenedlaethol. A fe fydden ni'n croesawu hynny yn fawr. Da ni'n ei wneud o'n yn achos ni, a sy'n tybio'r eraill hefyd, mewn amgylchiadau ariannol a staffio sy'n medru bod yn heriol. O da ni yn gobeithio manteision llawn ar y berthynas sydd ganddo ni, ond dwi yn credu bod rhaid ni fod yn realistig ynglyn â be allwn ni gynnig yn arbennig yn achos y banna lle rydyn ni yn gorfod cysylltu efo 3 CJC, a mae hwnna medru bod yn heriol, ond fe nawn ni'n gorau cadeirydd, ond dwi'n meddwl bod o'n werth i ni ddwy'n sylw at yr agweddau yna yn adroddiad archwilio. Mae hwnna yn eglur a bod rhaid ni adeiladu ar hynny. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Na, diolch i ti Aled, ac yn cytuno gyda pob gair. Mae'r cydweithio yna'n holl bwysig, ac wrth gwrs mae hwnna wedi bod yn rhan anatod o'n cydbwyllgor ni yma yn y de-orllewin o'r cychwyn, ond derbyn hefyd yr heriau capacity sydd chi wrth drio fod yn aelodau o 3 CJC, mae hwnna'n sicr yn her, a fi'n cydnabod ni yn llawn. Diolch am y cyfraniad. Oes yna unrhyw sylw pellach neu unrhyw gwestiynau penodol? Fi'n credu bod y adroddiad yn eitha eglur yn diwech, mae nhw'n bethau ni wedi bod yn trafod ers peth amser nawr. Ni wedi cael ambell i weithdi hefyd dros y misoedd diwetha sydd yn trafod y materion yma. Felly, os nag oes na unrhyw sylw pellach, gai ofyn i rywun i gynnig bod ni'n derbyn yr argymhellion yn ffurfiol, swch yna. Diolch, David Simpson yn cynnig, a rywun i eilio. Diolch, David Hopkins yn eilio. Felly, a gai ofyn i pawb i ddangos trwy cwrdd eich dwylo te os ych chi'n hapus i dderbyn yn ffurfiol. Diolch yn fawr. Gret. Diolch. Felly, gyda ni symud ymlaen te item 8 ar yr agenda, sef so item 8 deals with the corporate plan and the draft priorities for the next financial year. The report is set out on pages 59 to 62. And can I ask then Louise McAndrew to present the report, please? Diolch, Louise.
Thank you, Chair. So this is for the corporate plan priorities for 24-25, and we are asking members for permission to consult on the priorities, steps, include the actions or steps included within the report. In terms of the 3 main objectives for the CJC, they would remain as they were approved last year. And then following on from a officer workshop that was held in the Botanical Gardens, where we discussed some of the achievements of the CJC across the year, a list of next steps was pulled together, and these can be detailed within the pages of the report. So under the economic and energy well-being objective, there is an action a step around the investment zone. Obviously, we know the news of the investment zones taking place in the southeast rather than southwest, but I think officers felt that there was an opportunity to explore and support some of the activities that was included within the investment zone prospectus. So they are listed there, as well as the Transport and Sustainable Strategic Development Plan for South West Wales. So obviously the Regional Transport Plan implementation plan has been submitted to Welsh Government, and we are awaiting feedback and next steps. And work is in its early stages for the strategic planning, strategic development plan. So yes, we just asking members for permission to consult on these priorities, and this will give us opportunity over the coming weeks to reflect upon the budget and what members would like us to take forward in 24-25.
Gret, diolch yn fawr Louise. Yeah, mae'n neud synwyr o'n safbwynt i. Steve, do you want to come in on this point?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Thanks for that, Louise. And I just wanted to understand the audience that we are we targeting with the consultation, because obviously on the report, the financial impacts, you know, the resources we have finite, and also budget constraints that we have. So I just wondered with outcomes, and say we said that we've met our outcomes previously. I just wondered, are we targeting a consultation exercise to who and what and where, and you know, and then how do we collate the responses to bring back to the committee for further conversation on whether some priorities are recommended. I just wanted, sorry if I said this before, I just wanted a little bit more understanding of what we're consulting on and where it goes, Louise, really. Thank you for that.
No problem. Louise, do you want to know?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. So we would be taking the same process as we did for the corporate plan last year. So the timescales for consulting would follow that, and we would take the same approach. So obviously we do need to have further discussions around the budget and how that links to the priorities that we wish to take forward. I know there has been discussion about transport plans taking the sort of main focus for next year, and everything else to be undertaken at a slower pace. So we would welcome your views, Leader, on taking this forward.
Diolch, Louise, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the discussion, is that we will have to have now in the round when we look at the financial projections for next year. Because certainly, Steve, I agree with you. You know, we're not in a position to do everything that we've set out to achieve in the very short term, given the financial pressures that we all face, and I think we all recognise. But that's certainly a discussion for the next couple of weeks, and by the time we get together at the end of January, we will of course be expected to set that budget. So it's a pretty short turnaround really to get those priorities aligned to the funding, isn't it? Diolch Steve. Os na unrhyw gwestiynau pellach? Na, pawb yn weddol hapus de. Okay, so os ni'n hapus, ga I gael rhywun I gynnig yn ffurfiol bod ni'n derbyn yr argymhellion? Diolch David. A rhywun yn eilio? Diolch David Hopkins, a ga I ofyn I pawb I godi'ch llaw os chi'n hapus I dderbyn yn ffurfiol, please. Gret, diolch yn fawr. Felly, newn ni symud ymlaen at eitem 9, sef safonau'r Gymraeg, a mae'r adroddiad yma yn dechrau ar dudalen 63 o'r pecyn, ac unwaith eto ga I ofyn I Louise McAndrew I gyflwyno yn ffurfiol, please. Diolch I ti, Louise.
Hello. So following on from the last CJC meeting where we informed you that we've received the draft compliance notice, and there's a consultation period taking us up to the 5th of January. So following on from that, we've done some work around cross-checking the standards that were already in place that we've adopted through Carmarthenshire Council, and the standards that were included within the draft compliance notice. And I can confirm to members that there are no differences in the standards, so we would be happy to take back a response to the Welsh Language Commissioner's Office prior to the 5th of January that we are happy to proceed.
Gret, diolch yn fawr. Felly mae'r argymhelliad yn un clir. Os yna unrhyw sylwadau? Aled, ti'n moyn wneud sôn?
Ie, yn ymwneud iawn, jyst i ddiolch i Louise am y cadarnhad hwnna, dwi'n siŵr bod o yn ystyrlon iawn. Gai, mae'n tisio ar y cyfle yma, jyst i gyfeirio at y ffaith bod ni'n y bana wedi cael 4 gwobr wythnos yma, oherwydd bod ni wedi hyrwyddo'r Gymraeg mewn ffordd, lle mae'r Gymraeg ddim yn cael ei thrin yn llai ffafriol na'r Saesneg, ac felly bod yn werth nodi yn bod ni'n fanna yn carwaint o sylw am hyrwyddo'r Gymraeg tu hwnt i gydymffurfio ffurfiol mor bwysig ydy hwnna. A do'n ni'n falch iawn am y cymorth da ni wedi cael oddi fewn i'r partneriad drwy'n wneud hynny. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Ie. Na, diolch yn Jared, fi wedi bod dyletswydd ar bob un o'n i hyrwyddo ta pryd ni'n gallu, a mae'r defnydd yr iaith o ddydd i ddydd yn rhan yn atod o hynny. Gret, diolch yn Jared arni. Felly mae'r adroddiad o'ch blaenau chi. Dwi'n cymryd bod pawb yn weddol hapus dyn ni. Gai ofyn i rywun i gynnig yn ffurfiol te plis bod ni'n derbyn ar y gymhelliad. Diolch David Simpson. A i eilio, sgwylch yna rywun? Ie, David Hopkins, diolch yn fawr. A gai ofyn i bawb i godi'ch llaw os chi'n hapus i dderbyn yn ffurfiol. Na ni, gret, diolch yn fawr. Felly, dyna'r eitem diwetha ar yr agenda bore yma. Does dim eitem brys wedi dod ger bron, felly gyda hynny gai ddiolch i chi gyd am eich presenoldeb a'ch cyfraniadau a dymuno Nadolig llawen i chi, os na welai chi rhwng nawr a'r Nadolig. Felly, diolch yn fawr. Chloe, do you want to say a word?
Just quickly, Chair, it's just in regards to the workshop that's taking place at 11 o'clock.